This is the closest square to the ocean. And that meant that everything that was really heavy, like iron, for example, they took to this square for selling because they didn't want to drag it further. So the reason they call this the Iron Square is because that's what they sold here, was iron mainly and things like that. And the reason was because it was the shortest way to bring it, because it was heavy stuff. So that's one of the reasons. The statue there is of a very famous Swedish singer and writer of music. His name was Evert Taube, and he had many different things, but in his very youth he was actually a gaucho in Argentina. So some of his songs is about his time when he was traveling, but most of his song is very traditional Swedish songs. And he's one of the very few people who actually has the granted thing to have two statues. So he actually has another statue in another part of the city. I don't know anybody else who actually has two statues, but for some reason he has two. But
Nice.
let's get that way.
Okay, yeah, sure.
You know, of course, that Gamla Stan, this area, you know what it means?
No.
It's literally straight up to Swedish. It means old city.
Oh,
That's what it
alright.
says. Gamla means old,
Yeah.
and Stan is a nickname for city. So the name of this place in Swedish is Old City. What you see on that side is not very old. That's the bridge. It's called the Golden Bridge. I'm not entirely sure if it's that golden, but it was a special delivery from China. So they brought it by boat from the whole way from China and put it here like 3-4 years ago. So it's very new. This whole area here, they have basically, it looked totally different, and they are now finally getting it into the new way. So previously it looked very differently, and they had to break down everything because it was built in the 1930s, and the concrete and everything was just falling apart. So it was super dangerous. So they decided after many decades of debates to finally fix it. And now they're starting to get it together.
Yeah.
So we're going from the old city through this area, which is called Slussen, which basically means it's a place where you can regulate the water and also the traffic for boats.
Alright.
And on this side it's considered to be a lake, and on that side it's considered to be the ocean. So this is the divider. The water here is it's a mixture between salt and sweet. So it's a little bit more salt than an average lake, but it's far more sweet than what you usually see in the ocean.
Yeah.
So you can drink the water here in the sense that if you drink salty ocean water, you will just be more thirsty. But here you will actually can drink it as it would be sweet water.
This way, here or here?
Oh, we can try this. I
Yeah.
never been here before, so this is all new. This is like they probably put this up like last week's. So I haven't seen this one before.
We
Yeah.
can try it.
So it's
Why
like,
not?
and now I'm gonna see if it's a shortcut or not. We are still gonna have quite much upwards. This we are now getting to is some of the most steep and older streets in this part of the city. This island is it has another name which no one uses. Everybody uses its sort of nickname. And the nickname is the longer name is Södermalm, but we mostly call it Söder. And Söder means in Swedish straight translated south. So we basically call this island south
Yeah.
because it lies south of the center. We are not passing any of the really old houses yet. We are later going to pass a few really old houses. The South Island is a hilly island with a lot of stone. And this island was built up gradually. So for quite a lot of centuries, there were quite a lot of places in this island which was basically just bare rock, or with a little bit of trees or bushes or something.
Yeah.
And the worse the area was, the longer, of course, it took before someone actually started to build properly on it, like houses. Houses here, however, this is central, so this part here, the houses here are quite old. But before that, in the really rocky areas, the easiest houses to build was in tree, like wooden houses, because they're much easier. So the poor people who couldn't afford, they built their houses on the worst parts.
Okay.
And when it was really bad parts, which meant that it was the very last anybody else wanted to build on, that's the only places we have left. We have these wooden houses in general, because when you get into the 1940s, 50s, people realized that maybe we should save some of these old traditional houses. So nowadays these houses are extremely popular and very expensive to live in. But originally that was just because it was the worst places and the poorest people live there.
Yeah.
This is one of the steeper hills. When it's winter here, we have ice. Can you imagine taking your bike down this road here?
No way.
An icy winter's day.
Yeah.
With this nice, quite not so flat. These are saved roads.
Wow.
So these are the oldest. So they haven't added in these roads. So here you have it more like it looked for the last 300-400 years.
Okay. Okay.
We are not there yet.
No problem.
No, we have a bit. So what was your daughter's name?
Shaima.
Shaima.
Shaima. Yalla, come on. I'm an old man and you need to be more... you need to have more stamina than me.
How do you build
What?
how do you build good stamina? Like, just walk.
I have an advantage. I know exactly how far everything is. So. But this is the reason we go here. This is one of the best roads to walk if you want to have a view of the city. And it's quite nice even at night. It's very nice and very, very crowded on New Year's Eve when you have a lot of people throwing out fireworks all over the city. Then this is a good place to stop.
Wow. It's amazing view, Shaima. Sure, look at this, Shaima.
We have the viewpoint up here.
I love it.
Stockholm Central, the old part, are in generally best viewed either from a place like this or from the ocean. As any old city, most of the visitors came by boat. So the city wanted to look its best when you came in with a boat. So it means like the facades against the water are usually the nicest in the old parts of the city. This here you see straight up is a small island, separate to the one there, which is the old city island. And then on the other side, further on, you have the mainland. And the one you see there, and if you look closely at the top, you will see that it has 3 crowns. That is the city hall. That's exactly. And as you see on the very top there, it's a little bit vague, but there are 3 crowns at the very top. You can maybe see 2 of them, but there are 3. They represent, in a way, that once upon a time, very long ago, Sweden, Denmark and Norway was one kingdom together. And it was only like that for 8 years. And the reason it became like that was not because one conquered the other. It was because that the wife of the Swedish king was first cousin to the Danish king, and her father was the king of Norway. And then her father died, and her cousin, and suddenly she was the closest to the throne in all three countries at the same time.
So she got
And
them
her
all
husband
three?
died as well. So suddenly she became the queen of all three countries because she was the closest person to become that. So it was more of a coincidence than an actual conqueror or anything like that.
Was she a good ruler?
I don't really know, but she's not considered to be a very bad ruler either. So she was considered to be
No.
okay by the times at least. The city hall is not an old building. It was built around 1920s, but it was built to look a little bit old style with the bricks and everything. This we are walking on now is not an old road. This was made here maybe just 20 years ago. They wanted to make it here for the last 50 years, but the people who lives in these houses didn't want their views to be blocked and a lot of tourists and others going there. So they, in any way they could, try to stop it. But eventually the city said like, no, we're not going to let 50 people block this, so screw you. So they built it anyway. Maybe not, but I will most certainly reach 100 eventually.
Wow.
But everything in the world, maybe not.
No, but 190 is...
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. I don't. I personally knew a few people who travel more, but I, on the other hand, know some people. I like usually when I travel with one of my friends most of the time, and our planning and things are like we plan along.
Okay.
And it's kind of nice. So, but yeah, no, I think I will be more. Usually we do a lot of trekking and stuff, so it might not be so fun as you think, watching us sweating for hours and hours up a hill. Here you can see some of the old house styles. So this is like a wooden house, and you can also see many of them are also sheltered in still like this. So these usually are built in very rocky places, and they left some in some places just because when it was time to build something else that they realized it was maybe well to preserve and save some.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a vegetarian since 30 years, so it was easy for me to find food. I didn't have to check all the time for meat and stuff.
Right, nice.
And I like the colors, and I like the kind of crowdy but still fairly okay environment. Like people, I mean, in some other places when it's really crowded, people are meaner, tougher, more on you.
Yeah.
I came to India after being in places like on the same trip in, say, in Egypt, in Cairo.
Uh-huh.
So if you walk in crowded streets in Cairo, it's not so crowded necessarily in India. I guess I already got most of the germs from the rest of the trip already, so I didn't have any problems with food. So
Yeah.
I went straight into the center of Old Delhi, went to a place where no Westerners has been before, and just ordered up a very cheap thali plate like everybody else. Like,
Yeah.
good place. Yeah. India was quite safe for me at least. But of course, every time I travel, you know, you need to be a bit aware and maybe not put. If you have quite little to be robbed of, then you're probably safer. If people see this guy don't seem to have a lot of things for us worth to take.
Uh-huh.
Most places they think maybe we should wait a few minutes, there comes someone else who has more.
Yeah.
So usually if you're not the most obvious target, you're safe.
Right.
They will rob someone else. This
Yeah.
is the highest point on this island. We are now 86 meters above
Wow.
sea level. And this is not a bad place to be even in the evening. As you see, this is bare rock. This part of the Stockholm is historically the blue color part, if you understand that.
Yeah.
And you can see Stockholm has very strict rules about building. So you can't just build a skyscraper and stuff like that. You have to have so many different allowance from the city and city councils and so on to do that. The city has said that in the center they don't want high houses. They don't want anything to change the sort of silhouette of the city too much. So they are very restrictive with big buildings. Very few. I always run. I mean, I was playing like sports when I was young, and then when I became a student, I continued to run, and then I just continued. So I have never stopped. I've always been running. So I've been doing at least one marathon every year for the last 20 years. I've been running every year ever. Yeah, I don't know. I think I have never had a year when I haven't been running. No. I'm never even close. If I run a marathon today, like the one I'm planning to run in 3 weeks, I think it's maybe 5,000 people running it. I will be coming around 4,500 place. So I mean, 90% of the people running it will be faster. Maybe 10% will be slower. So I mean, I'm not running. I'm running because I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm not running because I don't really run for any to get good or anything. In the 1990s, I have always disliked the taste of meat ever since I was young. So I always had problems with that, and I never really liked fish, and I really didn't like seafood. So for me to take all of these things away was just take away things I didn't like. So it was super easy. I never had anything like, oh my God, I really wanted that, ever. So it was just, good, I take away everything I don't like, perfect. I kind of disagree, but the thing for me is that I'm not willing to do the job. I'm not willing to kill animals myself and skin them and fix them up.
Yeah.
So I don't really see why I should take only the benefits. So, I mean, that's just, I mean, really for me it was so easy. So it was just a small part of it. The other part, the bigger part, was the fact that I didn't like it. That's B12, B6. I have a vitamin I take. I have a pill I take every day for that. But, I've done that all the time. I don't know if it's necessary, but for me at least, I thought it was a good thing to do at least. I've been a vegetarian for 30 years.
Wow.
So, and for me, I mean, for the last 25 years, do you know how many days I have not been able to work?
No.
None. I have never had a sick day for 25 years.
Oh my God. Never.
Never. Have I had a cold? Yes, a few times. And should I go to work then? Maybe not sometimes. Have I been really sick? No, never. Did I have COVID? No.
I thought it was COVID.
I don't know. I mean, if I had COVID, I couldn't tell. During the whole part when you were isolated in COVID, I did my usual runs every second day, and I had no problems ever feeling like, oh, I'm sick, I can't do it. So, no. So, and as you can see, you can get slightly fat on a vegetarian diet. Anyhow,
Yeah.
it is possible. It takes a little bit more work, but it can be done. So now we're down to the waterline. Many of the boats here are either people who live on, or they are rented out to people to sleep in. So most of the boats here are actually people who for some reason live on the boat, or they have a hotel or a hostel or something. And some of the boats are of course very old, so some of the boats are maybe not so good for traveling. You can probably move them to a place to repair them a bit, but that's about it. The first immigrants who came here, not Arabs but Muslims, was the people from Iran during the revolution mainly, and afterwards. So we had already from that time, then yes, Iraq, Pakistan, yeah, a lot of people, and especially during some of the times there. They came a lot, and by a lot I mean a lot. We are talking that the immigrants at some points from these countries were around 8% of the Swedish population came at one time as immigrants in 1 year.
Yeah.
Like 8% of the population. So that of course meant it was a lot of problems. Honestly, most Syrians who came were quite educated. They are in most cases fully adopted. The sad part is the people who came who are already working with low wages, or even refugees in Syria from Afghanistan, Pakistan, who were very poor, very uneducated, and those were much more of a problem, because of course the life here and the life they had was much more of a difference. For the educated Syrians, I mean, sure, they had to re-educate themselves somehow, but I would say 90% of those plus are now part of the society. They have learned Swedish, and can you tell them Syrians? Of course, but in most of those cases, I mean, it was problems at the time because so many came at the same time, and but that has never, most of the people adapted. So I don't have a problem with that, more than I could just say that it was too many people who came at a too short time for us to be able to take care of people properly, and for them to get a fair chance to assimilate properly. I knew people who came from Syria who told me, I will only speak Swedish in 6 months because I need to get in here, and in 1 year I want to have a work. People who came with that idea spoke only Swedish in 6 months and had to work in 1 year. And in 2 years they could buy their first car, they could rent a proper apartment, and they could worry like everybody else about which week in the summer they could be off work.
Yeah.
So easy. And then you have people who came with much harder and much longer way to do it. So, but now I don't see a problem with that. I don't think that a certain kind of people necessarily is the problem. It's always individuals. There are always people who will find problems with others. Usually the problem lies with themselves. I don't have a good job. What's the problem? It's because actually you're lazy. Who want to be that? No, of course. Let's blame those and those and those instead. I don't want to be lazy, so can I blame someone else? Perfect, do it. Yeah. So my perspective on this is that people who complain a lot are people who would only find another thing to complain about or to if they couldn't have this. But of course Sweden has a party which is the second biggest in Sweden, and that party is populist, on the borderline of being pure racist, I would say. And they say that the only way Sweden can get good again is if we can get a lot of the people who came to move out, even the ones who have simulated well. But there are always people like that who rather, and they are like, these people bring in new traditions and they destroy the Swedish ones. Every tradition you have came from somewhere else. Yeah. It's just these people are just if you really go through it with them, they don't really have any good idea about anything, I would say. But that's it. Yeah. The interesting thing to me is that human nature say that you generalize because it's easy. It's always easy if something is black and white. All Russians are evil because what they do in Ukraine. Well, I can easily tell all Russians aren't evil at all. Not 350 million Russians are bad because what happens in Ukraine. They have a horrible government and a horrible president, dictator. But that doesn't make everybody else necessarily horrible just because they have the same nationality. It's like you can blame 350 million Russians and you say they are all like that. Or all the Arabs in the world, they're all like that. And then you tell someone, well, in your own family, like your family with uncles, brothers, cousins, do you agree with everybody? No, of course not. My stupid cousin, he's very different from the rest. So all the Arabs in the world are like this, But in your own family, you have people who are very different.
Yeah.
People only want to see things easy for themselves. That's how it works. I have a friend who's a Muslim, actually a family. He's Swedish, who became a Muslim because he wanted to marry a girl from Malaysia, Malay.
Yeah, because of love.
Yeah.
He became a Muslim. All right.
Yeah, so he's a Muslim. He is very devoted to Ramadan. He doesn't eat pork.
Yeah, but he
doesn't drink beer in Malaysia. When her parents were alive and here, they were quite devoted for a few weeks. After that, I don't think so. I mean, they do practice Ramadan in the family quite well, even the children. Apart from that, very few restrictions or anything. That includes his wife, who will also drink beer with us. I think that one can interpret Allah's word about beer or any form of drugs, that if you take too much of it, it's not good for you, so don't. It's not the same thing that if you take a smaller part and you can handle it, it might be okay. I mean, smoking is, at least to me, a much more dangerous drug than alcohol.
Yeah.
If you take pure nicotine, you need only 6 milligrams to kill yourself. If you take pure alcohol, you need way more. So obviously alcohol is less dangerous if you look on it in that way. So, but people choose, I mean, I choose to be a vegetarian, so who am I to tell someone you need to drink alcohol? If you don't want to drink alcohol, don't drink alcohol. It's perfect. I mean, it's all your own options. Make yourself happy. Of all the people I've hosted, the one which I have still contact with, nearly the only one really.
Wow, just one?
Yeah, I have a few ones which every now and then, but mainly one. It's Ted Chang, who is a Canadian / French / Taiwanese citizen.
Wow. All right.
He lived most of his life. I mean, he studied and then he became a specialist in a certain kind of medicine. And he lived most of his life doing research in different parts of the world for a few years on some sort of a project. And then he left for somewhere else. So every now you're hearing, oh, I'm going to be in Puerto Rico in a project here for 3 years. And then after 3 years, where are you now? Oh, I'm in Cape Town for 3 years. And then now I'm in Paris. Now I'm in Taiwan, actually, right now. He's back. And then, so he's the one I have contact with still.
Okay, and what is the special thing that you found on him? I mean,
he's very much like me, like to travel, but he's also he's a cool personality with a lot of opinions and an enormous lot of knowledge of the world. Usually when you travel, like this year I went to Azerbaijan, and I went to out not from the biggest city, I went to another city and I took a picture of something and I said it to Ted, like, where am I? And Ted said, oh, I got some friends in Azerbaijan if you want to meet them, like 10 minutes later. Yeah. So I mean, that's how he is. Like, there are very few places in the world he hasn't been and he recognizes, like, bam. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
And nowadays he's a fortunate guy. I'm a little bit jealous about that though. His father died, which is of course not so much of a fortune, but then it turned out that his father had so much money, so he just quit his job and now he's just traveling the rest of his life. He said,
I love that.
I don't need to I have enough money. I can travel the rest of my life.
I love that.
And he's like 56 or something, so he retired early. I've never been to a time where I have never been robbed in my life, actually, at least not in that sense. So, but I had some places where I realized that I need to get out of this place now, and I have to do it quite hastily, like if not run, then walk super fast, because this is not the place.
Okay, like what?
It was once when me and my friend went for a shortcut in some suburbs of Lima in Peru, and we realized that this was not a good place to make a shortcut. And there was a woman coming towards us on the street when we were just entering the area, and when she saw us, she was being like checking a bit, and then very carefully so no one could see behind her.
Oh,
And you're like, okay, got the picture, let's turn now.
okay.
Like you can really see on her that she didn't want it to be seen from behind what she was doing. So you
Yeah.
realize, okay, this is bad. We need to do now. We need to turn now.
Wow.
So we did, and nothing happened.
Thank God.
Yeah, I also had some people stalking us, coming very quickly when we were in the center of Nairobi.
Yeah.
And we rushed into the hotel we were supposed to go to, and there was an armed guard there, and he said that those guys who came after you, you were fortunate they didn't get to you, because they were armed and stuff.
Wow.
So he said you were fortunate that you managed here quickly, because they were coming for you with everything.
Oh my God.
But it didn't happen.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God you're safe.
So I guess I can say what I usually say to someone who comes up and becomes like an annoyance in any form of Arabic place. And they said, now you're going by with me. And I said, Inshallah.
Inshallah.
In Egypt, my actually best memory is that I went up very, very early when I was in Luxor. And managed to get to Karnak when it was opening 6 o'clock in the morning, and I had it all to myself for nearly 1 hour. Nothing else, no one else was there,
Yeah.
only me. So I could easily go around and see everything without any interruptions, any other tourists or anything. That's what I really remember. And then I remember that I was super tired in my legs when I was walking in Cairo in the bazaar, because it's so big, so if you don't know exactly how to leave it, you can get stuck in it for quite some time. Some parts it's 10 kilometers long, so but eventually we came out. But it took some hour to just get out of it. I was going between two cities in China by train. At least that was my idea. And I standed in a queue. This was a smaller city. And when I came up to the cashier, I told him I want to go to Shanghai. And she just looked on me like, I don't speak English. And I'm Shanghai, which was a common. And she's, no. And then she just pulled everything down and she said, go, go, go. So,
Oh my God.
and then when I left, she opened up and said, next person, you know. And I was like, but this is the only cashier and I need to go. So what I had to do then was to basically sit down with my Lonely Planet, figuring out what is the Chinese letter for Shanghai, then figuring out like a little bit on how to write the right things for the train in Chinese. And then I went and, of course, luckily time is still the same. And then I wrote all that on a paper and went back in the queue, had to wait. And then when I came up, he says, no. And I gave her the paper and she looks and I said, yeah, okay. It's what is it called? It's losing like your pride. It's something that is people there are very scared of losing this, so they are sometimes you can get kind of weird responses because people are like they don't want to help you because they don't know exactly how to express themselves perfect in English. They do know English, but they don't know exactly. So then they like, no. So they can even have a conversation with you and telling that they can't tell you anything. Like, I can't tell you anything in English, I don't know. You're like, but you're speaking in English, so. But yeah, sometimes, so different cultures have different styles.
Yeah.
I didn't have partly a good experience in Russia. Russia is a very hard country to travel sometimes. People there can be very tough.
How is that?
Well, they are not interested in helping you. Everything is on you. So for example, you go to a place and realize they don't have any vegetarian food. So you ask them if they can like make this food but take away this thing for you. Like, I'm a vegetarian and I'm vegetarianits in Russian. Okay, so can you take this but you take away this? No.
Really?
So, it's only to take, no, only menu. I don't want to change anything.
Yeah.
So, I also had in China, in Russia, my shoes broke and I had to buy new shoes. So I went into a shoe shop and the women there were like, we don't want tourists. And I'm like,
Wow.
but I need shoes. So I went and found some shoes that were good. I wanted them, but they were the wrong size. So I take them out and I write on a paper, like this size instead. No. No, we don't want. And then I get like, okay. And then I see that just outside the main store, they have lots of like a storage. And the first thing they have in the storage is those shoes lined up. And I can see, like, I just have to do this, the right size.
Wow.
So I just put my hands in and take the right size out there. And then suddenly all three women who work there come rushing to me, can't do this. But now I'm like realizing that in Russia sometimes you have to be very offensive in order to get things to work. And sometimes it's just their style. So you tell them, I want this. Huh. And they're like, okay. So basically, you know, you have to be rude in order to get things done, which I find it's not that fun. And afterwards, I also remember that getting these shoes, they still told me when I paid, do you look here, like, now because you took them from the storage, I have to write in this book that it's moved here, and then I have to write here. So now I have to write this on 3 different places for you. Like, selling shoes, like, why do I? Yeah. So that was tough, but Russia was tough.